Other interesting political news, you have the Montana Supreme Court blocking a ban on child transitioning, which, of all the states, I mean, you have California, where they actually have teachers. They'll allow the teachers to indoctrinate the students and transition the students without the parents' notification. They actually said legally you don't have to tell the parents anything. Which is creepy. I understand that happening in California. That's their culture. I was shocked that this is happening in Montana. A lot of people are saying it's because of Californians moving from California to Montana. But still, it's happening in Montana. Yet another reason to make sure you vote, not just on the presidential elections, but anytime there's a judge up for a vote, anytime there's midterms, get out and vote and be informed. Just because they have an R next to the name or a D next to the name doesn't mean they're going to actually run that way and actually operate that way, especially when it comes to Republicans. There are so many rhinos out there. Just because it says Republican on the ballot, that doesn't mean anything these days. I always make sure, just take 5 minutes to Google or Brave search their background and see what their historic voting patterns are to see if they truly are Republican or if they're just shilling in their a rhino, which there are so many. Now, this comes with thanks to Lives at TikTok, in which she says, quote, breaking the Montana Supreme Court just blocked a law banning gender-affirming care for minors in the state. That's quote-unquote gender-affirming care. As we all know, not really a thing. She continued saying, quote, children in Montana can... Oh, Jesus. Cover your ears here, children listening. This is viscerally heartbreaking and disgusting. So it says, quote, children in Montana can be chemically and surgically castrated in the name of radical gender ideology, unquote. Yeah. And this got 1.5 million views as well as 21,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from America Papa Bear saying, quote, Montana has been invaded by the California rejects, unquote. Which, I'm not sure about the vernacular of that statement because, I mean, those are California's true and true. Maybe there are people who rejected the state of California and decided to go somewhere else to destroy that state with irresponsible spending and cultural policies. Now, that got 1.5 thousand likes, American Papa Bear specifically, and one of the best responses, most handsome responses, I would argue, comes from The Topping Show, hashtag The Topping Show on X, which I say, quote, I believe they're called California commies, LOL, getting 5 likes. Planet of Memes, which I'll just point, they did not in fact respond in meme form, says, quote, this is just evil, there's no other word for it, getting 559, I think 560 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, Montana needs to lose all federal funding in 40 days, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Libercat Media TM has a compilation of all the different flags, I should say ideology flags. It says, please keep telling the kids, and it's a word next to every flag saying no one has to go along with this weird shit, getting 454 likes. A false flag says, men are not women. Gender-affirming care for children is a crime against humanity. It also happens to raise about $100,000 for each of the victims. Wow. Here you can see someone trying to put a ball through the pelvis of a man skeleton versus a woman skeleton. And yeah, spoiler alert, won't work on a man. Got 241 likes. Scrolling down more and more. I Love American News says, quote, Senator Mike Lee gets it. There's a place for people who mutilate children and belong. It's called prison, getting 747 likes, which in our lifetime, I think there's going to be a myriad of medical malpractice lawsuits against the kids, against their parents, as well as the doctors. I think at the end of the day, I mean, cultural, the two things that are really going to change this is not just politics, but also going to be, well, 3 things. It's going to be a big cultural thing in the United States as more and more people are brought to light to what gender-affirming care really is and what it actually entails and how irreversible it is. And I think it'll also be, again, it'll be political, it'll be cultural, then it's going to be settled in the legal room. All these lawsuits are going to put the brakes on a lot of these. Because again, if a doctor is going to be fined or he's going to be sued for $250,000 plus by a child who grows up and then can't really grow up because of these procedures, I mean, they're going to go bankrupt soon. They won't be able to get medical malpractice insurance because the policies will go up because they keep getting convicted in court, which again is yet another reason to ensure you are voting properly and you actually realize what the judge's policies and past and track record are when you do have the opportunity to vote for, not just judges, but sheriffs. And again, when you vote for politicians, who are they appointing judges on your behalf? Do they have a good track record of, appointing constitutionalist judges? You gotta stay informed. I know everyone's busy working. I know a lot of people are working so hard, don't get me wrong, but just a couple minutes of research can really make a difference. Going down more and more. Tad says, quote, if we don't stand up for children, they won't stand up for much. Getting 93 likes. Retired publicist says, quote, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, parenting is not something I admire. If you want to pay attention, cut off your... Jeez. I'm going to say, cover your ears there, children listening. If you want attention, cut off your own healthy organs. Do not do it to kids who are too young to understand. And don't give them hormones that have always been known to, and the medical community finally admitted to, are not, let me see here, it goes more, not reversible, getting 260 likes, which one of my favorite documentaries, or mockumentaries, some might call it, is What is a Woman by Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire, in which, yeah, there's a video of the compilation of all these Democrats and leftists and doctors, quote unquote. I use quotes because I don't consider them doctors because, I mean, the first rule is do no harm. There obviously are, in which they all claim, oh yeah, these drugs are completely reversible. Spoiler alert, they're not. Also, one of the main drugs is used to, again, cover your ears, after listening. One of the main, most popular drugs that they use for quote unquote gender affirming care is, I believe, is Lupron. It's used for castrating sexual offenders. Now, for the record, in terms of castrating sexual offenders, I think that's an excellent application of justice. I like the idea of not having we should not have repeat offenders, but I digress on the topic for another time. But yeah, giving those to children, that's what the drugs are doing. Ridiculous. I got 260 likes. Scroll down more and more. Planet, or declaration rather, of memes says, quote, they don't really live in reality. Is a trans flag with the words on it saying trans women are men, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Declaration means also says, even the ancient Stoics get it. And yeah, it's obviously a parody of Marcus Aurelius, but there's a quote saying, your dog isn't vegan, your child isn't trans. Getting 1.3 thousand likes, which, yeah, just go on the YouTube and look up that video of the gal who pretends he thinks her dog is vegan. She goes on to show reporters, and the reporters put like a bowl of meat, and the vegan bowl of food for the dog to choose from. Dog immediately beelines for the meat. It's quite hilarious to see how disappointed she is. Like, oh yeah, you're pulling the strings. It's not the dog. Gecko Wrangler says, quote, how has Montana failed? There's something seriously wrong with our judiciary if this abomination can stand in deep red state, getting 549 likes, which, again, I mean, by landmass, the U.S. is mostly red. There's a fun quote I like from the recent presidential election that says, there's no such thing as, blue areas, it's only blue cities, because it really is. No blue counties really out there. On average, they're so small. Overall landmass is very much red in the United States. But again, a lot of people do it. I understand. Even earlier in my life, I understand I didn't invest as much time as I should when it comes to further vetting out these candidates that I'm voting for. I didn't really get serious about that until I was in my mid-20s, I would say, or say 21, early 20s. But yeah, you gotta make sure you know who you're voting for, because again, some of these judges may have thought, oh yeah, this is a constitutionalist Republican judge or right-leaning judge. They'll probably vote appropriately on what I want. And again, another thing is California with their complete cultural demise and their ridiculous over-taxation, over-regulation is pushing a lot of people out of the state. They're going somewhere. And a lot of those rich Californians are going to Montana and buying ranches and stuff. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I think this will go to the federal level. And I suspect I believe bans will be upheld if it goes to the United States Supreme Court. Again, this is Montana Supreme Court. But all that takes time and energy and resources. It's heartbreaking to think how many people and how many children are going to be hurt in the meantime. But let me know, how long do you think it'll take before the United States really resolves this particular issue? And do you think the people of Montana, will they vote different? What will they do differently? Do they will cause an exodus, people moving out of the state? Let me know your thoughts are, because as always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.